All right. What's good? What's good? Give us a like and subscribe here in Golden Out Boxing for more news and stories. What a fight. What a absolute banger of a fight. That was a fight that I was expecting from Lamont Roach. I thought it was a great fight. I think Lamont Roach, it didn't surprise me. Nothing. There's nothing in this fight that surprised me. Um, I was watching some of the highlights of Lamont Roach, especially fighting against Jamal Herring. I thought that Lamont Roach was actually winning that fight. It was kind of close, but there were a few instances where Lamont Roach was just basically banging with Jamal Herring, and I thought, wow, this guy can really box in the inside, and that's exactly what I saw in the fight against Gervonta Davis. I saw how Lamont Roach was able to capitalize on Gervonta Davis' mistakes and give him his own medicine counterboxing. Now, it is interesting because um, Gervonta Davis is not the type of boxer that you can normally let loose, especially because he has a lot of power. And Gervonta Davis demonstrated in this fight that he is somewhat limited uh, with his power. Okay, in my opinion, Gervonta Davis is somewhat limited with his power. Now, one of the reasons why I believe that Gervonta Davis is limited with his power is because, and I always said this, I don't subscribe to the idea that Gervonta Davis is this amazing boxer. He gets hit a lot. I've seen him in a lot of fights against Hector Luis Garcia and other boxers where he was getting clipped a lot. And he relies a lot. He relies on his power, but if his power is not there to help him, then his boxing IQ and his rhythm in the fight starts to change. He starts to become more desperate. So people think that Gervonta Davis is like some sort of Floyd with a junior or like an Andre Ward, but he's really not. He is a very talented fighter, but he's limited in certain uh, with certain styles. And in my opinion, I just didn't see Gervonta Davis um, as the star that they try to sell other people. And it's not just because of this fight; it was because he could have fought against Gary Russell Jr. He could have fought against Stephen Farmer. He could have fought against Basilo Machenko at 130 pounds. He could have taken Shakur Stevenson or Devin Haney, but he never took the challenges. So for me, when you talk about Gervonta Davis and you start to say, well, Gervonta Davis has a IQ, it doesn't really mean anything because he has an IQ against who? Who did he fight to have that IQ? So then we limit that to like Leo Santa Cruz, or we're limiting that to Mario Barrios, which Mario Barrios is not a bad fighter, or we limit that to Frank Marin. But did he beat any of the most challenging boxers in his division? The answer is no. Did he use that power to knock out a lot of these opponents? The answer is no. He never he didn't even fight these fighters. Never mind even knocking them out. So now he has a draw in his record. And I'm really happy because I believe that Lamont Roach did everything well in this fight. I've always said that Lamont Roach is not extraordinary at anything, but he's good at everything. And he has a way of boxing that he can adapt based on his equilibrium in the fight. And he was countering Gervonta Davis. He was getting shot and getting hit by Gervonta Davis as well. He was taking it in the chin, and he was still able to counter Gervonta Davis, keep the rhythm with Gervonta Davis, and he finished the rounds strong. He finished all the rounds strong. From the 11th to the 12th round, he finished really strong. Normally, most opponents that face Gervonta Davis are struggling because of his power. Lamont Roach was able to capitalize on Gervonta Davis' mistakes and then keep him at bay, and then little by little just cut off the ring and break him down. He wasn't even afraid of exchanging against Davis, and Davis was frustrated. You could see he was very frustrated. He didn't know what to do. He was kind of thinking like, "What should I do? Should I counter? Should I stay in the pocket? Like, what should I do?" And you could see that he was frustrated. And some of his fans are going to come out and be like, "Well, Gervonta Davis, was having a hard time. He didn't have Coach Calvin there, giving him advice." Well, Coach Calvin was there, and he literally knows how to box, so he doesn't really need Coach Calvin, right? I mean, if he's that good of a fighter, he doesn't need Coach Calvin. Why? Because people say that Gervonta Davis is like Floyd Mayweather Jr. So Floyd Mayweather Jr. is the type of boxer, he doesn't really need a cornerman. He doesn't need a trainer because he knows what he's doing. His father taught him. Gervonta Davis came to this fight, and this was a cherry pick, got wrong. He messed up. And he did not know what to do. He froze in a lot of the exchanges. Not only did he freeze in a lot of the exchanges, but also he started to act weird. Why would you put a knee? Was it the round 9? Round 9, he put a knee in the ground. I thought, I was like, what are you doing? Either he was getting frustrated or he was hurt. One of the two. But he said he had something in his eye. But that was weird. Like, why would you bend a knee? Why would you bend a knee? I don't get it. And the worst part about that, if any boxer puts a knee, you automatically deduct a point. You have to deduct a point. They didn't deduct any points. And had that happened, Lamont Roach would have won the fight. In my opinion, he won the fight. But had that happened, he would have won the fight. So I don't think it was a just decision. I thought Lamont Roach won the fight. I think he did more than enough to beat the fight. He was countering the counter boxer in Gervonta Davis. And he was doing it effectively, aggressively, and he was landing good shots. In fact, Lamont Roach, I forgot what round it was, probably like round 3 or 4, connected Gervonta Davis in the jaw and stumbled him for a few seconds. Gervonta Davis never returned the favor and stumbled Lamont Roach like Lamont Roach did with Gervonta Davis. And yet somehow, like, I don't know what the refs saw, but in my opinion, the reason why they gave him a draw, even though I think everybody knows that most people should know Gervonta Davis lost the fight, is because they don't want to take his undefeated record. Because in the end of the day, they want him to fight in Saudi Arabia. That's the problem. Because people still look at these undefeated records, and Gervonta Davis is one of the main characters in boxing that relies on his undefeated record to make money. So you give him a draw, Gervonta Davis lives one more day, another day, to fight. But technically, he should have lost the fight. I mean, he definitely should have lost that fight. And that decision that they gave of a split majority draw, I thought it was very unjust for Lamont Roach, who, he did perfectly fine. But the reason why they don't want to make Lamont Roach a champion, first is because he's going to risk, and the other reason why is because he's not undefeated. So it looks bad already if you put a boxer who's not undefeated as a champion, so you can make a unification fight, because everybody relies on the undefeated record. So what do? They basically got to pin your record to an undefeated record. And if an undefeated fighter fights a fighter who has losses, the most likely scenario is that if it's a close fight, they're going to give it to the undefeated boxer. And the reason why is because undefeated sells. but I think it's a huge mistake. I mean, I think that's terrible. You don't see that in UFC. You don't see it in any other sport, just in the sport of boxing. But Lamont Roach did more than enough to win this fight, and I knew he was going to do that because I've seen footage of Lamont Roach, and watching this fights, he is good at everything, just not extraordinary at anything. But he's good at everything he does. He's very. He has a nice equilibrium to his boxing, and uh, and he was thinking there when he was fighting Gervonta Davis. He was thinking, and Gervonta Davis did not know how to react. And the reason why he did not know how to react is because he felt like his power was not having the necessary effect, and that is what frustrated him. Because I said it before, Gervonta Davis relies on his power. Gervonta Davis relies on his power. Without his power, there's nothing extraordinary about Gervonta Davis. I've seen many, I've seen way better boxers than Gervonta Davis. Way better boxer. Jeff Candler, one of my favorite boxers, never got the reputation of a Gervonta Davis, but he's an exceptional boxer, way better than Gervonta Davis. Um, Technically speaking, a magnificent boxer. Junior Jones was an excellent boxer too. I love Junior Jones too, but he took hard opposition. He wasn't ducking fighters. But Gervonta Davis, he exposed his record, and now he has a draw, and I'm happy for it. I mean, I guess the good news, even though you know Lamont Roach didn't get the win, is that at least he got a draw. So at least he's hanging on to something. At least he's hanging on to something. And hopefully we get to see a rematch. But I guarantee you one thing in the rematch. Gervonta Davis will not take that rematch. Because the second time, I think Roach will adapt much better than Gervonta Davis. Because now he's tested the power of Gervonta Davis. He knows what it feels like. And he got hit. But he was able to come back for the next one. He's not only going to feel more confident, but he's also going to start the fight faster and stronger. And that could spell trouble for Gervonta Davis, especially if he gets hit or countered. It will be a huge problem for Gervonta Davis in a rematch. But Gervonta Davis is not going to take that fight. So Gervonta Davis is probably going to take a fight with George Kambosos Jr. That's what I've been hearing, the rumors. That's a terrible, disgusting fight. Or maybe he'll fight against, try to fight against Vasily Lomachenko. That's a possibility too. But other than that, I don't really see him facing Keyshawn Davis or facing a boxer like Shakur Stevenson. Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Because he's afraid of those styles. He's afraid, and that's the bottom line. So it is interesting to see Gervonta Davis draw against Lamont Roach, and I made myself some money because I made a bet with my friends. I said, listen, I know that Lamont Roach can be dangerous, but you believe Gervonta is going to knock him out? And I was thinking like, well, Lamont Roach has never been knocked out, maybe I can place a bet. So I said, if he draws or if he loses, I'll give you $100. And if he and he told me if Gervonta Davis wins, so if Gervonta Davis wins, I'm going to give you $100. But if he loses, then you're going to give me, $200. Okay, so I won the bet. Hell yeah, there you go. So I'm happy. I'm happy for him. All right, so we're gonna leave it like that for right now. But I'm happy for Lamont Roach. At least he got a tie, and let's see what happens moving forward. But Gervonta Davis, he screwed himself in this one. He really did. He could have. He definitely could have fought a better boxer. Definitely, not a better boxer, but at least one that was ranked in his own division. And now he messed up. All right, give us a like, subscribe, become part of our community here in Golden Era in English, and we'll see you in the next video. Deuces.